Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambers Bay, the iconic Fako mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with the hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia.
Greetings to the people of Ambazonia and welcome to our program this year 2024 on Ethics Commission for an Emerging Ambazonia. Now, before we go in today's program, I would first of all like to welcome all the panelists and the audience for being with us here today, the 12th of January 2024. By way of introduction, I would like to first of all welcome the panelists, Dr. Tom Dola, Barrister Tim, and Comrade Tangshi. In that order, I would like to just say hello in this 2024 before we kick off. We have a very pregnant, very important, healthy program today. So over to you, Dr. Tom.
Thank you, Pastor Commando. Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome, fellow Ambazonians on the home front and abroad. Special greetings, especially to our brave Ambazonian Restoration Forces and our population on the home front bearing the brunt of the genocidal occupier force of La République. We salute you all, and we salute also all our refugees in Nigeria and elsewhere, and all the prisoners and IDPs. Welcome to this program. I'm Tom Dula from Gogotunja County and the Vice Chair of the Ethics Commission under the able Maduro Tingwa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Barrister Tim, it's your turn. Greet the people and briefly introduce again. We know you, but go ahead.
Well, thank you, Pastor Commando, for having me once more. For me, I think we don't need any self-introduction. But what I would say is welcome to 2024. We are now at a new year. The revolution has circled one down year. And as we take off for the year 2024, I just wish that every Ambazonian, every fighter, every supporter, every sympathizer would take the cure of being ethical. You've learned something, be ethical in the revolution, be ethical to your friends, be ethical even to your enemies, or to your foes, to your opponents, to those people who don't agree with you. And so if you are ethical, we build a better nation, we build a better community, we build a better family. Welcome to everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Comrade Tanshi, it is your turn. Go ahead, greet the people, introduce yourself.
Happy New Year to all our televiewers on ABC. Welcome to those who watching us on YouTube and those watching us on Facebook. Happy New Year again. Another year for our recognition fight. It will be a year of focus. I am Peter Tanshi. I am from the Mezam County, and I've been on a number of programs, and today we'll be focusing on some of them which fit the theme for 2024. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you very much, panelists, for that brief and comprehensive introduction. Today, I am your host for this program of this year, 2024, that we are beginning with on ethics. And of course, my name is Pastor Commando, and I follow suit. I am from Minchim County, the deputy chair of Minchim County. All right, let's go. Dear Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonia, we welcome you to the 2024 session of Ethics for an Emerging Ambazonia program 2024. 2024 has been declared by the year to be the year of focus and stability by the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Coincidentally, it tied in with our declared theme for this year's program, talking on signs of the times will help us focus on getting the critical mass of ethical Ambazonians will guarantee us stability post-war. We are appealing to all Ambazonians to take ethics personally so we don't live from one bondage into another. And so today, our points of discussion will be as follows. The wind of change blowing across Africa is like an impossibility becoming possible. Who could have believed or thought that 400 years plus of France's firm grip on Africa could be challenged? Knowingly or knowing how quickly they crushed such attempts in the past by killing the people's choice of leaders. Why should Ambazonians view this shifting as a sign that the time is ripe, time to take advantage and fight for their recognition without fear? Now, that is going to be part of the point of the discussion. But before we get into that discussion points, there's something I'm actually missing out. Let me give to you what the theme of our discussion is going to be. Looking at the theme of our discussion today and the topic, we will be able to actually follow up what we're supposed to do. All right. The topic of the theme of our discussion today, the theme is Signs of the Times. So the topic for today's discussion is the signs of the times that make Ambazonians' emergence as a new nation inevitable. That is what we have to discuss as a theme, as a topic today. The signs that of time that make Ambazonia inevitable, its independence inevitable. And so we will now cross over to the points that I just read, the point of discussion. Number one, I finished the discussion, the introduction, and I went to the point of discussion. And I would like Barrister Tim to take up that particular point of discussion. That's point number one. And then after he has spoken, we will now get over to the next point. Remember, the point is the wind of change blowing across Africa is like an impossibility becoming possible. Who could have thought that 400 years of France's grip on Africa could be challenged, knowing how quickly they crushed such attempts in the past by killing the people's choice of leader? Why should Ambazonians view this shifting as a sign that the time is ripe, time to take advantage and fight for their recognition without fear? Over to you, Barrister Tim.
Well, these are the signs of times, and for us to be reminded in the takeoff that we're dealing with ethics. What we saw going across Africa and the world at large is part of us because we are part of the world community. We are part of the world community of nations. And so what impacts on other nations would certainly impact on us. And we'll take cue on that and look at essentially what it is in it. As Riley said, who could have thought that France's grip on Africa for the past 400 years could be challenged? Yes, it is 2024 January, but it's being challenged. But that is not just we're not just in Africa, we're in the world. Who could have thought that Israel's ability to suppress the Palestinians, to cause human beings who live in Hamas to live in holes, They dig holes and live inside. That is physically unethical. That is morally unethical. That is religiously unethical. Who could have thought that that sort of thing would be challenged? Today, as we speak, the Israeli government, to its greatest embarrassment, is defending itself before the World Court at The Hague, brought by South Africa, that enough is enough. And so there comes a time that is feel morally obliged to stand up and challenge the wrong, even if it is not done at their backyard, even if it is not done in their own house. Human beings are human beings, and we're just human beings. Who could have thought that in 2024, Somaliland will be abandoned and forgotten, that will be ignored? Somebody will come out to say, we are recognizing you, and that would generate interest around the world. 2023 was about Ukraine, was about Russia. These are powerful nations. But as we move on, this is 2024. This looks like about small countries, Somaliland, about small countries, tiny Israel, about unknown countries called Palestine. Most people think that Hamas is a country. No, Hamas is just a political party in Palestine. Who could have thought that in trying to fight a political party in a given country, you wipe out everybody who lives in that place, kill every child, burn down every hospital. The hospitals in Gaza is the land. Hamas is the political party. So bombing down hospitals, killing children who live in Gaza is territory, in the name of self-defense, is morally bankrupt. It's morally wrong. It's unethical. And so as we progress, what do we get out of this? I think the future is bright. For the world is rising up. They are standing up to this type of dictatorships around the world. Why do we think that Yaoundé will be different? This is 2024. What is the ethics about it? A man, an officer, opening fire on a moving car because nobody would dare challenge them. Yes, maybe you're trying to fight a people, but what has a taxi driver got to do with your fight? What has a pregnant woman just traveling maybe to go to the clinic or to the hospital, wherever she's going to, got to do with you? And so we've had a little bit too much in this past 23 and 24. We can only hope that the world will rise to see the unethical way that Ambazonia has been treated. Let us forget about the legalities. We deal with the ethical part of it because we are in ethics. What is the ethics in burning down houses? What is the ethics in destroying bridges? What is the ethics in doing all what they have done to us? As we progress again, I hope the world, our neighbors and strangers alike, we will to stand up and say, no, the end of times, the world is changing, Ambazonia is growing, Karamu will be held accountable for all what they have done. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me introduce this element of it.
Wow.
Over to you, sir.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barrister Tim, for that brief talk over there on that point of the wind of change. Now we're going to go over to Dr. Tom. Let us watch a short clip in which the Ambazonian ambassador refers to this wind of change as an era of revelation to Africans. Why is it important for Ambazonians not to be left behind? Over to you, Dr. Tom.
Yes, thank you.
No, Dr.
Very
Tom,
much.
before you say anything, we are going to watch a clip first. After the clip,
Okay.
then you can come in with your intervention. So let's get the clip on, please.
Okay.
For sure. I think the West did not see it coming. However, it was very naive of the Western nations to think that the exploitation of Africa was going to continue unabated forever. The West is definitely, if I may use four-letter word, not so kind, they may be pissing in their pants, because what's happening in Africa is indeed a revolution, and a revolution that's way past due.
You see it as a revolution, but what kind of revolution is it, in the sense that do you think this is throwing off repression from France, from the United States, from other nations? What kind of revolution do you see is underway?
Well, I like to think, if I were to use the biblical terms, this is a revelation among Black people. They're waking up and realizing that what has been happening is wrong, is wrong, is wrong, and change must come. And for true change to come, it must be brought by the people. What you are seeing is an African electorate that is now awoken, that is informed. They understand the real issues. In the past, Africans have been misinformed, misled, and given false information, and being thrown a shiny object and being told only the African heads of states are the problem. But now they understand the invisible hand and the role that the invisible hand is playing to make sure that Africa remains where they want Africa to be. The African heads of states, particularly those heads of states of the former French colonies, majority of them were just puppets put in place to continue the same French legacy, which basically boxed them in. The Africans now understand where the real problem is.
Well, let me ask you, Ambassador, let's take Niger for a moment.
Okay, Dr. Tom, we've gotten out the extract which we wanted to have from that slide. Please, can you go ahead and then your take?
Yes, thank you, Pastor Commando. That was, a powerful outing from the ambassador, Arikana, who is a staunch African, pro-African firebrand. No doubt about it. It is wonderful what is happening on the global scale, on the global scale, brought forward by the Africans. It's a volcano, I would say, that is erupting now. The magma, the pressure has been building up underground for decades and centuries, and now it is erupting. It's the right time for that eruption to occur. Seen on the global scale, on the large African scale, that is something wonderful. But on one small note, I will add there, we should not forget all those African, the African spirit is there and should be spirit for total freedom, total liberation is there and should be furthered. Just like we in Ambazonia, we also want that freedom. Not only wanting it, it was promised us, granted us on 21st April 21st of April 1961, under UN Resolution 1608, that on 1st October 1961, we will be independent. And later on, independence by joining, and nobody talked about that independence again. So that is what we are hoping for, we are fighting for this. We've recognized, we've reinstated that independence under our former president, Sisiko Julius Ayuktabe, who is now languishing in the concentration camp they call prison in Yaoundé, in La République. That independence has been restored. Now we are awaiting that recognition. Seeing that on the global scale, that is wonderful, that is nice. But just on a small note, it is those same African countries, African head of states, who had been standing by and watching for 6-7 years counting, as La République has not only annexed southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, but has killed over 50,000 of us, wiped out, burned down over 500 villages, and continue to maim and kill and steal and destroy our people. And they don't lift even one finger up to come to our defense. To even the African Constitutive Act that says the boundary of every country is frozen at independence. That is something that La République has to adhere to. They don't dare enforce it, but they will rush and go to. We are very much aware that problems are elsewhere. We stand with the people of Ukraine for their independence. We stand for everybody fighting for their independence and everybody defending themselves, like the Israelis, although they tend to overdo it. But the thing is, charity begins at home. These leaders cannot be Nicodemously running around, going around the whole world, in Ukraine, in Israel, wherever, trying to resolve problems and forget what is happening right under their noses on their own continent. I would say they are not really that freely emancipated in their mind. Think of your own people first, and then also the world at large. So that is what I'm missing from these our African leaders. But still, overall, there is much optimism about what is happening out there, and that is definitely what will happen for Ambazonia also. We already have partial recognition, so to say, by the United States and other powers. Our seat of government, our president is in the United States. Our government, no more the interim government, but the government of Southern Cameroon has been registered, accepted in Washington, D.C. And meetings have been held with powerful Congress men, and resolutions have been issued by the U.S. Congress against the war in Ambazonia by La République, and punishments enforced upon La République. So things are happening, and we are happy for that. But much more needs to happen. So Ambazonia cannot and will not be left behind. We will see to it that such a thing doesn't happen. And thanks to our Department of Foreign Affairs and other departments pushing the diplomatic breakthroughs through under our able President Samuel Ikome Sako. So that is what I will have to say to that. And we can see that the signs of the time are there, not only for us getting our independence soon. We are ready to hit the ground running when our independence is granted soon. And on the other hand, La République is crumbling. The oil production, the oil they have been stealing from us, Ambazonia, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, for over 60 years. The production is declining. Their economy is declining because that makes 60 to 70% of their economy, that which stems from Ambazonia, which is stolen and continues to be stolen. And you have unethical governments like the government of the United Kingdom who, by the way, are the ones besides France who brought us into this mess by not ratifying our independence, preparing us for independence, and seeing to it that it be granted us. But they shamelessly go ahead and do business with La République to buy the oil and gas that is from the southern Cameroons that they failed to decolonize 61 years ago. So, but things are happening today. Even the upper house in the UK 1 or 2 years back, ordered the government to look into the Southern Cameroon's issue. So we are going somewhere. So our people should rest assured we are much, much nearer to independence than we were years or decades ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tian. Thank you very much, Dr. Ndula. Thank you for what Madam Ambassador has just mentioned, and the position Ambazonia is to grasp. It is an opportunity for us. And so we'll go over now to Comrade Tianxi, to Tangxi, to speak to us. Comrade, Niger has become the fourth fastest growing economy in the world in such a short time. Why should this be one of the greatest reasons for Ambazonia to stay focused and resolute in their quest for freedom, as our president actually emphasized during his speech of the 31st breaking this year 2021? Comrade Tanshi, over to you, sir.
Again, welcome to our televiewers again and those on Facebook and YouTube. And thanks for having me, Pastor Commando, again. Yes, this was following from what Madam Ambassador said. Niger, are you hearing me? Could you hear me?
Yes.
We hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Niger is a glaring example of what a totally independent nation can do for itself. You know, we have a mind, or our leaders were born with a brain. All of us were born with a brain and with a mind, but unfortunately, the brains or the minds of our leaders were molded. You can always mold your brain, your mindset in a way that it's progressive for yourself and your community. That of our leaders, former leaders, were molded in such a way that they were not there for their leaders. They were there for the foreign powers, especially the Francophone Africa. They were there for France. They were like a province. They didn't bother what their people do. Niger has showed that if you come with a mindset which focuses on your people, then you can grow. You don't need aid. You can grow very, very fast. You people can get out of misery. People, your citizens would not leave to cross the Mediterranean into Europe, and so many of them dying on the way. So Niger has exhibited that. Why is that important to us? Others have followed suit. See, Burkina Faso and Mali are following suit. So what does that mean to us? It means it's a good, we've been seeking for support, international support, especially from the African continent, with very mixed results. So this will give a chance because it will show even that this can be the countries that will easily support us, and even be those who are sympathetic with our cause, even in La République du Cameroon, would see that this our independence is also good only for them. It's also good for them because they would eventually get their own also full independence. Though the 1st January 1960 was just a masquerade of independence, because they are still linked to France in such a way that they are not fully independent. So our full independence take, and then our leadership considering its people as their interest would make them progress very fast, just as Niger is doing and other ones will eventually do, so that this is a good chance for us. We would get support from a good number of African countries. We will get support even from our sympathizers in La République du Cameroon, which would which would facilitate our recognition quest. So this is a good chance for us. For this year, we should be focused. We should take these aspects. We would increase diplomacy in order to acquire this through these other progressive nations so that we can get our recognition very quickly with the help of supporters in the international community. We are not going to go against anyone. We just want the interest of our people, the interest of our people, and the people will live well. And it will also allow the other people, the part, if they live well, and then the whole world, other people in the other world live well, also live well. Then we are fighting for not only for a better Ambazonia, but for a better world too. So that's our quest. That's what we will take advantage of this wind of change in 2024. Get focused, get more allies, and our recognition will come sooner than we thought. So that was my contribution on that, following what is happening around the world, following Madam Ambassador's speech. So over to you, Pastor Commando.
Thank you very much, comrade. Thank you so much, comrade Tiangshi. I don't know why I'm always calling that name Tiangshi, because Tiang is from my village. So Tangshi. All right. So thank you very much for that contribution. Ambazonians, it is our utmost concern with what is happening in Africa. And as you can see, Madam Ambassador spoke, and as you can see and hear in the social media, Niger has come up, and it is being reported as the fastest growing economy in they call it what, the fourth fastest growing economy in the world. Just a few months ago that they became their own. So when Ambazonia will become its own, all right, I don't want to, but that is what is going to happen. It's going to be very, very different when Ambazonia becomes what he is now struggling to become. All right, we'll track from there to the fourth point of our discussion today, and it will go actually, well, it has some 3 steps to be answered. So all of you just listen to the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia made some major strides last year, called the year of that was a year of acceleration, that validated her as the government for the people and by the people. These actions elevated her status and value in the eyes of Ambazonians and the international community. Looking back at the 62 years of struggle for justice, this is the best position for victory Ambazonians have ever attained. This should encourage Ambazonians to stay focused and not look back. Now, question number A, or point number A, the Second Amendment to the Constitution and the registration of the government as an entity in Washington, D.C. Barrister Bese, could you just go ahead and comment on this and tell the Ambazonians how privileged and the point where we are standing as far as our nation is concerned? Over to you, sir.
Thank you once more. I think 2024, I've said that before, and we are dealing with ethics. There's a lot at stake. Ethics has 2 different components, the international component, the local one. We're dealing with, especially for now, the local kinds of ethics in politics. That is, what are we doing ourselves ethically? to attract national attention, to world support. Which the leadership. You can fight all your wars, you can do anything you want, but if you don't fight, don't you. You have to chart your own course, and sympathizers will come in to give you support. And that takes to what you just said. See, all revolutions are fought premises. The guiding lines of the revolution are used. Practical actions you take are used. And so, what have we done going forward? The amendment of the Constitution. Looked at it. What is leadership? Because every struggle has a leadership. All of us contribute, but there are people who are directing the ship. There are drivers on the driver's seat, and then we support them until we ethically learn to put the right drivers on the driver's seat. No support will take us anywhere. For example, in Ambazonia, right now as we speak, there are so many groups, everybody purporting to fight for Ambazonia. But are they all doing the same thing? No, not. Are there people who are more focused, whose guidelines are better than others? I can say yes. And we can find this in this government. So amendment that we did, the amendments that we did, which transformed us from an interim to a permanent, interim anything, interim government, interim House of Chiefs, interim House of whatever thing, we were never interim, has been the best. And since we are charting the right path, if we chart the right path, we expect the correct support, morally, ethically, and otherwise. And so the amendment that we did at the close of 2023, will it take us further? It is our hope it should. For it helps to do two things. For the past 7 years, or many more years before, we've heard the Yaoundé regime argue that they don't know who to talk to. Yes, Anglophones they call us are fighting. Yeah, they are fighting everybody in his or her own way. They don't know the person to talk to. They've forgotten so soon that the history of Ambazonia, called the British Southern Cameroon, is documented. It's so short. 50 years is not a long time in world history. It's a very short period of time. And so they've forgotten that just in 1961, 1959, 1961, until 1970, they were talking to a government. They were talking to a people, representative. They were not going down the streets talking to charlatans that they found there. They didn't define for us who a government was. No. We came into discussion with them with our own government. It was not defined by Yaoundé. It was defined by ourselves. It was not even defined by Great Britain, the administrators. We defined it ourselves. The British did not come down to choose Ndele to be a leader. They didn't come down to choose Foncha. They didn't come down to choose Jua or whoever. We chose those people ourselves. They gave us the guidelines. You need a government. And we provided it. So that should then help us as we go forward. That Yaoundé, this idea of not knowing who to talk to is now dead. It is clear. Who do you talk to? Go talk to the government. The confusion that many other people, supporters, people who would have supported thought they had. They say, well, we don't even know who to. These people are not even united. It's now dead and buried. We can have people who come out there and say what they want. That's the freedom of speech. That does not make them the government or representative of the people of Ambazonia. They are political parties. They are activists. They are just interest groups. That is their right. But going forward with the amendment, we think ethically that the international community at large, and individual nations in particular, the United States, and most importantly, Yaoundé, should be able to recognize that fact that there is a government, the people of British Southern Cameroon, of Ambazonia, have a representation, they have a structure, they have something you can talk to, and already are talking to the people of Ambazonia. They don't have groups. And so that is the essence of the amendment. And now we're 2024. We can only hope that that will bear fruit. Again, since we're dealing with ethics, ethics means doing the right thing. Ethics means acknowledging when you go wrong and coming back to the fore. I think this government has laid down the foundation for all that. What brothers and sisters who over the past 7 years have been groping around the bush, they've been throwing stones left and right, thinking that they were on the right, on the right path. They were wrong. Now they can all come back to the fold and say, yes, we all agree. In 1961, 1959, 1964, 70, up to 72, Yaoundé was talking to some people in the form of a government who can all coalesce on that behind that government. And then that would have made ourselves, because we have to fight for ourselves. That means Ambazonians. Ambazonians of all spheres have to fight this battle. And therefore, I think very honestly that those people who refuse to align behind this idea of government are making a political mistake. They are making a moral mistake. And so it is time for them to come back to the fore. Bring all your ideas into the government. The government will discuss those ideas and present to whoever is interested a single package. A single package. And that might make me to refer to what happened in 1961, July 1961, when they had the so-called famous Fumban Conference. Fumban Conference came to see with the government of Southern Cameroon. But the government of Southern Cameroon, as represented in the Fumban Conference, was a coalition of everybody who was an interested party in the 1961 plebiscite. At the opening of that conference, there were three speeches. There was a speech from Mr. Ahijo, the president of East Cameroon. There was a speech from J.M. Foncha, who was the premier, the prime minister of West Cameroon. There was a speech from E.M.L. Ndele, who was the leader of the opposition. These were the three speeches that marked it. And so that was not even the composition. The composition included, among others, all parties that were in West Cameroon as political parties, including even the OK. They had their delegations there. OK was led by two people, Den Tumusa and Abel Mukong. They had no representation in the National Assembly, but they were also heard. They were part of the West Cameroon government. And so they constituted part of the West Cameroon delegation, including chiefs. And so the amendment that we made, we think and believe that it is morally the right thing to do. It is ethically, we deal with ethics, the right thing to do. To try Yaoundé, Yaoundé don't create issues that do not arise. When he talked to us in 1961, he did not talk to Northwest, Southwest. He talked to Ambazonia. He talked to West Cameroon government, Southern Cameroon government. He did not talk to Bamenda. He didn't talk to Kumba. He did not talk to Manfred. He talked to the government of Southern Cameroon. And so that should be very, very useful going forward, legally, ethically, and morally. And so that is the importance of that amendment. We think that being done, we're on the right track. And looking at the position of the world, as I've just said in my last segment, who knows? The world is not a world of dumb people. It's a world of people with their eyes open. And so they see what is unfolding in the world. They do history. Our history is better written by them than even by us. Because when they were making all this plebiscite, they were making all this join independent by joining, they were forcing us into it. Other people were voting for us to go and join. Other people were voting to impose these resolutions on us. And so those people are not yet dead. When I say those people, I mean those countries. They are not yet dead. They are still alive. Those countries are still there. They probably have realized the errors they made in imposing independence by joining, which was morally wrong, was ethically unacceptable. And so we are on the right track, having come back to where it started in 1960. We can only hope that if our brothers and sisters all coalesce behind this team, these principles, we will have a better fight until the enemy knows that. The enemies don't do things because they don't know. Enemies do things because they persist on the wrong. But the right is always done when it's on the right. For the truth can only hide for a while. The truth is always the truth. And so that is what the amendment meant. That's what it should mean going forward. Thank you for having me. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Barrister. Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Barrister. Thank you so much for that lengthy explanation. And we just want to add here that if anybody in the world or in Ambazonia did not know, let them know that La République and France are very, very instrumental in causing chaos and confusion so that they can profit and bask themselves in leisure when the confusion is going on. But Ambazonia is no more having that interim that brought in so much confusion by France and La République, but now they are a government. So nobody should complain and say that we don't know who to talk to. The actions at the home front are already showing as the government of Amazonia on the 7th of December 2023 was fully put in place, as Barrister has explained, taking back the government of Dr. Jongo Foncha, who read a speech as a different entity during the inauguration of the 1st January 1960 independence of La République du Cameroon. All right, with that said, this year 2024, the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia crossed the carpet and brought in another instrument, the award ceremony. Now, we would like to go over to Comrade Tianshi to tell us the award ceremony that our president announced and what happened at the end of the year for Ambazonians. What will you say? Over to you.
Yeah, welcome again to our televiewers, those on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, the government went ahead again this time and did something which is very, very ethical. You know, if you do something right, and it's nice that they say thank you or they say well done. And the government of Ambazonia in 2023 started by doing that, which is something very ethical. We on this program had earlier also proposed that when we are recognized as a state, we would use that award ceremony at different levels to reward people who are progressing the country in one way or the other, either their LGAs, their counties, their regions, their their zones or the country. And the government started doing that in 2023, which was really great. Ethically, very great because it encourages people to do the right thing to move the society forward. Among those who were recognized, you can see it was our former president, Julius Ayuk Tabi, Tabe. He was one of those. Patasan was one of them. Some were even awarded the award post-mortem, which was also great. Though they were gone, we see how much they contributed. The list is really long. I'm not going to go through that list. But what I'm just saying is the government has taken a different, another step, which is making our recognition um, uh, 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 very, very feasible and coming sooner than later because it's recognizing people who are not even part of the government. They know they've done things that have brought us here so far. So it was but nice to recognize them. Some are in prison and we still recognize them. We know how some of them are in prison and still resilient, and that was done. Some have died, we've recognized them. That changes the mindset of people to think in the right way. It's not only you, or it's not you're not going to get things, some soya and pocket and go against the will of the people. It's about you doing things which are right and you are recognized for it, you feel good. And you also feel good that you are making progress for mankind. Something not only for you, for mankind. Our fight for recognition of our independence, we've said, it's for the betterment of our people. You know, we should we should build a great nation. We should be other countries should see us as examples, and they can only see that with great people who are doing great things for the people. And when they do that, they are recognized, and it goes down it changes the mindset of those who are in the population, and the whole country be a very big, happy country, and prosperous. So merit should be awarded, and that was done through that ceremonies. It goes even goes beyond the government, so it goes to facilitate recognition of our independence this year, 2024. We're going to focus on that. We're going to show that to our to people in the international community, and we would have more support from the international community in 2024. So that was quite a great ceremony. There is the flip side of this, right? How of those who don't do things that merit or the opposite things that merit recognition and awards? The ethics commission is there for that, to follow ethically and follow those who are not doing things ethically, or try to let all departments impose it, so that you can never have everybody who will be doing things ethically. There will always be those ones out. So the opposite side of it is we are also planning how to apply this ethics to those who are doing the wrong things, even at this time of independence recognition fight. So that is the other side of the coin. But what was done in December 2029 by awarding by recognizing the meritorious people was a great step ahead. So over to you, comrade Commando, Pastor Commando. Sorry.
Thank you very much, comrade. Thank you so much. The recognition also went a long way to encourage our people. Medals of valor and Knights of Value and other things that the president began to heap upon the people of Ambazonia is a very big source of encouragement. And now we'll just go ahead and ask Comrade Dula to give us a comment. The defense of our Kansas City 3. We all know the story. And Comrade Dula, if you are there, Dr. Dula, if you are there, what can you tell us about the injustice and what is presently going on with our comrades? The microphone is yours, sir.
Thank you, Pastor Commando. We are talking here about three comrades of ours, three firebrand Ambazonians, whom I know very well. Then all of them come from Ngokotunja County. They have been exemplary in what they were doing for Ambazonia as they held their respective posts. We have Comrade Langmi Nestor, who was once a spokesman for the ANSC, and the defense chief from Ngokotunja, whose voice sent shockwaves through the spines of the genocidal La Republique forces. He did his job so well that, that the enablers and enemies sought for ways to bring him down, and they seemingly thought they succeeded by reporting him and the other two to the US government that they were arraigned over a year ago. The other is Comrade Claude, the former head of chairperson of NDOP LGA in Gokutunja, who was doing a wonderful job, and he was also in the finance in the Department of Treasury, did a wonderful job there. A tireless Ambazonian who always saw to it that people paid their dues. And of course, SOS Frank Cheney, who was formerly the chairman of Ngogatunja County, and did his job so well that he was appointed by President Sako to the post of Secretary of State for Defense. So it is because of some treacherous blacklegs that we have in the US who reported our people to the US government, and they were picked up and are still in prison in the US. They already appeared before court, in front of the court, first of all on bail, and then later on they were taken into custody. The enablers, the blacklegs, the so-called One Cameroon people who reported them, they refused or are afraid to come to court to testify against them for obvious reasons. But our judicial team has been accompanying them all this while, and especially the Department of Women Affairs and HSS, they've been accompanying them and are in constant contact with their wives and their children, helping them wherever it's possible. And it's a very glaring case of injustice by the United States government of our people being imprisoned for fighting for recognition of independence for Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, which 62 years ago was granted to us. And one of those who said yes was the United States of America, who was for our independence. So now they are being locked up for doing the same thing that Ukrainians abroad are doing for their country, for doing the same thing that Israelis abroad, Palestinians abroad are doing for their country, fighting for their sovereignty and for defense. So the hypocrisy is very, very glaring. And of late, it was brought to the attention of the US public that one prolific writer brought the case up. So it was in some major news media, TV stations, and print media in the US. And a press conference has been made of late through our President Sako Ikome Samuel, to inform the public about this and to raise the awareness about it. So we are there fighting for their release. The present state is they are still in custody, and the case is building up steam. Our legal team is strong and supporting them, and we have them in our prayers, and not only that, we're helping to support them. And as we said, the government of Southern Cameroon is in contact with their wives, helping them where we can. So that's what I can say to that effect, unless the barrister has something to add, because they are on having something
Yeah,
to do
Dr.
with the
Tom,
legal
Dr. Tom,
team
thank you
supporting
very
them.
much. You just took the word out of my mouth that the barrister should say something. I mean, we're in the spirit. So, barrister, I see the way you are strategically and thoughtfully sitting down to inform the Ambazonian people of this injustice that even a little child that doesn't know anything on politics in America can also point a finger that there are Americans from Israel who have actually gone to fight there physically, not only supporting them with weapons and with money, they have gone to fight there, and they are Americans. And the Americans who are Palestinians that have actually gone out there, supported. In fact, our president even said that he sent a support to the Israeli people. Now, why has these people not been caught to put in custody? Is it that there is racial discrimination? Is it that there is what? Let me not say what I'm thinking. But barrister, you are there. We as lay people who may be speculating, but as the barrister is there, go ahead and then let us know exactly what is going on. So, barrister, the microphone is yours.
What I know is that for those of us who are familiar with the US and other civilized nations in the world, we have a dispute. People always want to say, and I quote, I want to have my day in court. I want to have my day in court. What does that mean? It simply means that the court is the final arbiter. Courts are not pleasant places to go there because they have complex procedures. Once there, you don't control a lot of the procedures. But they happen. I can only wish, and I wish the family of the Kansas Tree and any other person involved to understand that our hearts are with them. They happen to people once in a while, but at the end, we shall prevail. Because you see, it takes a little effort to commence a court action, but it takes a mountain of effort to win a legal battle. So the fact that you're in court does not make you a guilty person. No, let us dismiss that from them. Especially this one. But ethically, because we're dealing with ethics, ethically, what does this really mean? It simply means that among ourselves, we have people who are unethically corrupt. Among ourselves, the prosecutor will never bring you to court unless somebody has come to lay a complaint. And that complaint is not valid until the person moves further to establish that the complaint they made is genuine before a court of law. And that is what is happening here. It required some Anglophones, some of us, some Ambazonians, either under the pressure of Yaoundé or by themselves, to initiate this action, which has taken our brothers to court. And so those are ethically corrupt people who thought that they could take justice into their own hands. But they are not going to have it that way. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy. And I can assure you legally, from my own perspective, that these are our brothers and sisters, these are brothers, are going to be free. They are not the first. Remember, Salah has attempted many times to take people to court. But the only difference is that what Salah was doing was essentially civil cases. In civil cases, nobody locks you up. And so he had all the cases that have been brought to court against Ambazonians, as far as this struggle is concerned, have failed. Why do we think this one will not fail? The civil cases that failed required a balance of probability to prove them. And they failed. This present one requires proof beyond beyond doubt, not reasonable doubt, all proof beyond doubt that the accused persons did what you're accusing them for doing. It will fail. It is failing. It will fail. Let us rest assured they will get their freedom rather sooner than later. But again, once in court, only a court order will free them. So, not in the sense that they will judge you. It is unpredictable in their time, in their agenda, in their calendar. The court calendars are not predictable all the time because they involve human beings. They involve other actors. The day of the court, your own lawyer might be sick. That will cause an adjournment. The day of the court, the prosecutor might be sick. That will require an adjournment. The day of the court, the judge overseeing the matter might not be there. He might be sick. He might be indisposed. That will require an adjournment. But at the end of the day, there will be some judgment. There will be some action, which I don't think is too far from here. I'm told that it's adjourned to sometimes next month, February 2024. That's probably in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So let us remain hopeful. We believe we don't need to revisit it anymore. They didn't do anything wrong. What they did, if they did anything at all, was what is being done by everybody all over the world. In time of war, people mobilize resources to help the victims to defend themselves. That's legal, locally, anywhere in the world, and internationally. And so if if they acted as officers of the county under attack, that was legitimate. And so that cannot be the source of a criminal indictment, talk less of a criminal conviction. But having been indicted, what is required, what is left is which is not going to be. I'm sure it's not coming. It's not easy. There will be no conviction. They'll be freed. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the United States. If they're in Kansas, they're in the United States legal system, federal legal system. If at the end you are vindicated, you'll be compensated for your time wasted because you did not volunteer to go and stay in jail. You did not volunteer to leave your family and go in prison. Somebody took you there, which is the federal government. They have to compensate you for the time loss, for the moral injustice they did to you. So let us remain resolute. Pray for them. Raise anything we can do to support their families as we move on. For this is the first. This might not be the last. Some other ones are coming. This is not even the first. This is the first internationally. But we have so many people languishing in their own day. Some who have purportedly been tried, but those who have never been tried for the past 7 years. So it is not new. Those are the last kicks of a dying horse. The enemy does all that. It is not new. They are trying them. They are thinking that they will not win. As I've said earlier, if somebody had told the Palestinians that some third world country, some country in Africa, South Africa, will cry foul to the fact that human beings are not supposed to live in tunnels, and even dare bring the mighty Israel, which is the 51st state of the United States, to answer for their actions before the International Court of Justice at The Hague. They might win. They might not win. But the fact that they are there speaks a lot. It sends a big message to the world that you can go on doing the wrong things. You can only do it for a time. You cannot do it forever. Again, I'm not in support of Hamas. I'm not advocating for them. But I've said that Hamas is not a territory. Hamas is a political party. That is just morally wrong for you to think that because a bullet came from a direction, a certain direction, who lives in that direction must die. You burn him down, kill the person. And they believe that that bullet might have been thrown by him. What is the difference between what they are doing to these people and what they are doing to us? A stone, a rubber gun, stone comes out of a village. You go and burn a village, thinking that in the burning down the village, you probably will kill the small boy with a rubber gun. That's wrong. That is moral bankruptcy in war. It doesn't work like that locally. It should not work like that internationally. And by on the right path. Let us pray for our brothers and in the Kansas territory in particular, and any other one who victim in Kumba, in Bamenda, wherever they are, in Yaoundé, in Kondenge, and Douala, are suffering unjustly. And it is a question of time we will see the light of day. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Wow. Thank you very much, Barrister, for throwing in that very positive, bright light. People of Ambazonia, well, he has said it all. Let's go. I don't want to comment any further. Now, we're going to go to the last segment of our discussion today, and that is actually crossing over to our neighbors. After hearing all that has been said, we want to cross over to our neighbors. And the deteriorating state of La Republique should fuel the zeal of Ambazonians to focus on the recognition. Let's watch a video clip from La Republique to Cameroon and see exactly what this God-forsaken land is actually diving into. And this would encourage the Ambazonian people to please, Ambazonians, please don't give up. Technician, we're waiting on you to put on the clip. Ambazonians, don't give up. Your victory and freedom is at hand. And it is at this point that the enemy of Ambazonia, of whom we now know very well, our Republic of Cameroon, will try to do and through the last joker to discourage us by every means and by all means, but it will not work. So let's watch and see this reportage from Yaoundé.
Sur la croix du calvaire, à Yaoundé à l'heure actuelle, un nid de poules par habitant, si nous avoisinons les 3 millions d'habitants à Ongola et Ondo. Nous avons aussi 3 millions de trous, 3 millions de poubelles, 3 millions de poteaux électriques cassés, 3 millions de câbles électriques qui nous servent de séchoir à linge. Et dire qu'on est dans une capitale qui a 7 mairies plus la super mairie de Yaoundé. 8 municipalités qui ne nous servent que des futilités.
Le gouvernement a trop promis beaucoup de choses, mais la réalisation ne vient pas. Parce que ça, c'est un route que depuis, ça fait presque 2 ans qu'on a commencé ces routes, mais on travaille, on arrête, on travaille, on arrête, on ne sait pas pourquoi. Comme hier, il y a beaucoup, des accidents arrivent ici, chaque moment qu'il pleut. Les gens tombent sur la moto, comme les propriétaires de véhicules brûlent les disques.
Les pneus même coûtent tellement cher. Quand tu ne peux pas rouler avec un pneu, les amortisseurs, les cadans, il ne peut pas vraiment vous dire le nombre de trucs qu'il faut au garage. Parfois, on me dit tout, en un seul mot.
Yaoundé, à l'ère de la haute décentralisation, est complètement en désillusion. Coincé dans un système de centralisation sur les projets des axes routiers principaux. Quand on se plaint à Yaoundé 4e, que Mombok 2e, c'est l'enfer. Ils disent là-bas que ce n'est pas de leur compétence. C'est au super maire de faire le job. Mais il est même où ce super maire plus que jamais invisible. Yaoundé est en désuète. Et on joue à chaque goutte de pluie aux devinettes sur la prochaine inondation et dans quel quartier. Pendant ce temps, les autres maires ne font que faire des pirouettes. À la question de savoir qui doit même faire quoi à Yaoundé, qui doit éclairer la ville, qui doit refaire les routes, qui doit ramasser les ordures, quand chaque maire lève les mains vers les montagnes. Le secours viendra donc de quel mont à Yaoundé? Elumden, Mbankolo ou Nkolnyada. Les Yaoundéens savent qu'à cette allure, même la prière ne pourrait ne plus suffire.
Yaoundé est sale. Les poubelles, nous mangeons avec des mouches parce que si tu achètes quelque chose en face, c'est les mouches qui quittent la poubelle qui se posent là et que nous allons acheter, nous allons consommer.
Au temps du délégué du gouvernement, auprès de la communauté urbaine de Yaoundé, le patriarche Timevuna, surnommé affectueusement
Okay. Now, we have seen the deplorable situation of Yaoundé, the crumbling infrastructure that Yaoundé, the capital city of La République du Cameroon. Now, Comrade Tangshi, it's your turn now to tell us what you think and what you can say and what Ambazonia can learn from this corrupt nation that even what they are stealing from us, they cannot help themselves. The microphone is yours.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, comrade Pastor Commando. Wow. For those of you who maybe don't understand French, there was one line there which was really amusing, yeah? That Yaoundé has 2 million inhabitants and 2 million potholes. Can you imagine that? 2 million inhabitants with 2 million potholes, not, and they are not being repaired. And then he said a number of things. Nobody, they have district mayors, and then the main mayor, each person is accusing each other who is responsible for the road. No, that road is not for me. You go to the main mayor, he said, no, no, that one is a national road, so it's not my problem. And then they say, oh, how collecting rubbish? So it's also, you see, rubbish, that is the capital city. I've had the opportunity to be in other African countries, right? I've been to a number of African countries. I have never seen any capital look like that. I've never, just one, this, that is our neighbor, La République du Cameroon. I've been to our other neighbor, African countries, Equatorial Guinea. If you go to Equatorial Guinea and see their capital city, Malabo, you would think you are in Europe. Just one single pothole on their roads, either in the city or on their intercity roads, not even a pothole. And that is a country that had independence much more after us. And when they were about to have independence, they flirted with a bit of the idea of joining Cameroon to be a bigger a bigger country. Thank God they never did that. Equatorial Guinea is 10 times what you can take La République du Cameroon is. The infrastructure there is, you would not just imagine. On you see that that is the capital. That is the capital of La République du Cameroon. And not only that capital, about a month ago, there was no petrol, the petrol producing country in Yaoundé and Douala, a petroleum producing country. So, what do you think? Is that a country you should be attaching yourself to? We should fight for quick recognition of our independence. As we say, it's going to help us and also help them. So for those my neighbors who are in La République du Cameroon, help us to help ourselves, and we intend help you because you are helping yourself. They cannot steal all those resources from La République, from Ambazonia, and yet do nothing for themselves. They do nothing. You can see how a capital city looks like. I think next time we should put Yaoundé and Malabo side by side, and you would really see that. I think I'll work towards doing that, and you would be baffled. So now, La République, the president of La République itself, in their Independence Day speech, right? They had independence 1st January 1960. In their Independence Day speech, he admitted himself that they have no money to run most projects. So, a mission of failure. And some of this is coming, the oil production from 2019 to now has been dropping. It's about they're producing now about one fifth of what they were producing in 2019. So they cannot sell enough oil. Even when they sold the oil, what did they do with it when it was hard? They still did nothing because those roads would have been there maybe 20 years ago, not now. And then, so again, our neighbors, we are really talking to our neighbors, those who want their independence, support us for our recognition of our independence so that we can help each other. And I listened to their president's Independence Day speech, and he named a number of hydroelectric dams that were initiated a few years ago, but they could not continue because of more money. I listened to it very well, and there was none in Amazonia. At least by 1972, pre-1972, we had one, Yoke. It was closed down. So since then, presently, there are about 9 hydroelectric dams in La République du Cameroon are known in Cameroon. So why did we join them? They close us, open more for themselves, and they make us dependent by annexing us so that we constantly depend on energy on them. Because they're constantly opening more, but they close us. We have no seaport. And Kribi and Edea seaports have been opened, added to the Douala. And we have more. So constantly making us dependent on them. We had a number of airports before we joined them. We had the Tico, we had the Malfe, we had Bali, and we had Camden. Presently, only the one in Bamenda is there. It's not even, it's an air, so it's not even functional. Flights hardly go there. So again, no airport. We don't have an airport. All airports are in our neighbor, like the Cameroon. So we constantly depend on that transport, public transport on that way. No functional rail system. The only one we had was Kumba, the one Kumba Loom, and of late it's not been real functional. So you see, it's just like making us annexing complete annexation where we depend on everything on them. And yeah, so it's our plea to our neighbors who are sympathetic with our cause, and I pray some of them they want us to our for our independence to be recognized so that we help each other. Very important. We help each other. We are all human beings. We help each other. So this is where we are. We're going to be focused. We would contact those in La Republic, our neighbors, who are sympathetic in this focus year for them to help us move forward so that our information should be as fast as possible. So that was my take on that clip, Pastor Commando. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much, comrades, and we will go ahead. Our time is running out. We'll go straight and ask Barrister Tim to come in and then contribute by joining to what you have just said and talk to us about the declining economy of La République de Cameroon, yet they are deceiving and trying to flex muscles that they have money, paying 3 lobbies in the in the US to try to destroy the quest of Ambazonia. And just go ahead, Barrister. Let me not get into what you have to say. Over to you. The declining economy.
Taken from the cure of Mr. Townsend, I would cure him from this angle. You see, the greatest blame we can ever have in our lives, if we can blame God, if God is blameable, is the fact that the Almighty God made these people called La République du Cameroon our neighbors. We should never, by nature, if God had been kind to us, to have these people anywhere near where we live. Because they are not a people. They are criminals by nature. They are not a people. They don't even exist as people. And this is well summarized. Each time we talk about this, and I think about this small book, which I've introduced here many times before. This book is written, it's a small short play, written by Victor Piengome, decades back. What God has put asunder cannot be put together. And so the misfortune we had was to have these people naturally our neighbors. And since they have been put next to us as neighbors, we can blame God, but there's nothing we can do. They remain neighbors. And so what do we take from what? They don't even have an economy. Because an economy implies a functional banking system, a functional treasury, a functional exploitatory exploration economy. Or they don't have anyone. Mention a single bank that operates in that country. No. They have abolished their banks and transformed their homes into banks. That's the only country I can imagine in the world where government ministers and other senior officials park the currency in their bedrooms, the big mansions, not to live inside, but to store the raw cash. How do you expect an economy to function when there is no bank? The money that is supposed to be put in the banks and given to you and me by way of loans to invest is stored in people's homes. Legally stockpiled because nobody has been prosecuted for doing that. So they have no economy. And the economy is supposed to function on some industries, on some exploitation of the natural resources. Are the natural resources exploited? Of course. The only sign that we have physical for the exploitation of the natural resources is the stolen gas and oil that they steal from us in the name of Sonora. You can find a building standing there. You can find some structures called Sonora, purportedly mining oil, shipping it crude, but it's standing there. Other than that, the country geographically is supposed to have some minerals. Who can point to a gold mine in Republic Cameroon? There's no gold mine there, but do they have gold? Of course, they have a lot of gold exploited from Betaro oil. But how do they do it? They allow the poor villagers to go with their diggers, with their hoes, to get whatever thing they can get, and then they take it, sell it, and call themselves a gold producing country. Who can show me an iron mine in Kribi or wherever it is? But do they produce iron? Of course they do. Where is the oil? Where is mine? Nothing. People from China, wherever they come from, to come there, they can pick, take it away, give the rest to them as bribes, and they stock it in their house. So how do you expect any country in this nature ever to have an economy? They don't have an economy. The economy exists in the individuals. Over the past 50 years, 30 years, they've sold all what existed as companies. Where is the proof? Where did they keep the money? Where is the money they sold all these companies? Alucam, National Produce Marketing Board. Where is the money? Where is the money they sold Cameroon Bank and other banks? SCB. They stole the money. So they have no economy. And since we're dealing with, well, let us not forget that we are now, this segment is ethics. In which country in the world, civilized country in the world, will it be ethical to do what is going on over there in the name of economy? Zero country. From that segment you saw, those of us who live in the United States and others live in civilized countries. I don't know. I live in the United States, where we have the largest cities in the world. We have New York, we have California, we have Washington, D.C. I've never heard about New York 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mayors. It's just New York. It's just Washington, D.C. It's just Dallas. It's just Houston. It's just London. It's just Paris. So where did you come with this super mayor, $1, $4, $10? You're on the 1, you're on the 4, you're on the 3, whatever thing to 10, and then they have something they call a super mayor who does not even know where the potholes are found, who cannot even do anything. Where does it exist like that? The picture you showed from the clip is actually unfortunate of human beings. You see electric poles lying down. What are those electric poles? They are pieces of wood. It's not iron, which is imported from somewhere. It's wood. And those trees grew over there in Africa. They grew over there in Chang. They grew in Bamenda. They grew in Betua. What prevents them from growing trees to make electric poles that will carry energy to people who will consume it and pay money for it? Nothing. It's just absence of any country. In short, absence of government. There's no government there. Whatever thing passes for a government there is a gang of thieves, licensed armed robbers, not even armed robbers, national robbers, because they steal the money with impunity. I'm sure what even they call it to the palace, the Unity Palace, whatever, I think it should be smelling of shit. If we saw it, if you saw where Mr. Ali Bongo was arrested, where he was calling his home, and yet they have been stealing money just like Yaoundé, it was not worth even you calling your apartment. And of course, Gabon produces oil just like Cameroon. So again, the economy is down. Should this ever happen to Ambazonia? No, nothing to copy from them as neighbors. We would rather, God willing, be able to help them if they are helpable. We cannot help an unwilling person to help himself or herself. But if they are willing, they will have a lot to learn from us. Even as we speak, they have taken over Ambazonia in different forms. But there's no Ambazonian city comparable to Yaoundé, Bamenda, Buya, Kumba, Kambe. There's none as filthy as Yaoundé. There's none as filthy as Douala. So in spite of decapitating us, they have not yet killed us. We shall survive. And if we can learn anything, they will learn a lot from us. Thank you for having me. Over to you, sir.
Barrister, thank you so very much. The exegesis and explanation needs no addition. Ambazonians and international community, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, that is what La République du Cameroon is. And Mr. Barrister, God cannot be blamed. Maybe there is a reason, and it's only at the end of the day that we shall see the reason and understand why he is very satanic, demonic regime to be closer to us, maybe to sharpen us to be very close to God as we are running closer to God now since man has failed in helping us. We shall tell the story. And the last speaker for our program today, and not the least, is no other person but Dr. Tom Dula. Would like you to just talk to us a bit about the misappropriation of funds, bribery and corruption. La Republic is one of the top 3 nations in the world spending millions of dollars on lobby firms in America and around the globe. Can you just go ahead and talk to us about that?
Thank you, Pastor Commando. I'll be brief. Comrades Danshi and Barrister Tim, in their usual manner, have been very eloquent, have really broken down all these things I'm talked about, most of what I wanted to talk about. But still, you can never say enough against what is happening there in La République. We go back 62, 63, 65 years ago, when Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was autonomous, having our first president, first premier minister, Prime Minister Ndele, peacefully handing over power to Foncha, who democratically won the elections, before we entered this unholy alliance with La République du Cameroon. Civic responsibility was very high on the agenda. Being having integrity and being upright and truthful, being accountable, all those things that we preach about all the time in this ethics commission were there and enforced from the least to the greatest in Ambazonia. And the least corruption or misappropriation of funds was frowned upon. Don't say you only stole 10 colonial French francs or 10 or one colonial pound instead of 1 million. No, you will answer for it, and you'll be shamed, and your name will even come in the media, in the printing press at the time. So such was the situation in southern Cameroons. And fast forward, we had incorruptible sanitary heads who were very strict and saw to it that hygiene be kept, starting from the family right down to right up to village level and community level, and community level was being done. You could never cheat your way out of that or bribe your way out of it. And fast forward, we entered this unholy alliance with La République, and things went down the drain. All those things, you don't see them in La République. Us who grew up there, schooled in southern Cameroons, so-called Northwest, Southwest, there was civics there, there was hygiene, there was public works, and going out to clean the environment, starting from the village level, the family level, to the village level, quarter level, and the schools. You don't see, you cross over to La République, you don't see any of that. And laws were enforced. So with all this, what you're seeing with corruption, bribery, lies, and the deterioration of infrastructure, meanwhile, they have a seemingly perfect, overpacked political system with mayors and all that. You see their offices, their big state cars they are driving in, but then you see the ordinary person struggling through potholes in the mud and having to sell food near a refuse dump. So all of that, those are the fruits of the corruption, malpractices, which arise from lack of this notion of civic civility, this togetherness in the country, togetherness of a nation, as Comrade Danshi rightly put it. It is individuals fending for themselves, like in the jungle, the rule of the strongest, who is more powerful, richer, and more influential. That person gets justice done for himself or herself. The normal person, the poor person, has to just, be at the mercy of those powerful individuals. That will not be the case in southern Cameroons. That has never been the case in southern Cameroons and Ambazonia. We are restoring not only our independence, but restoring the institutions and the statehood that was there, and that civic authority, having citizens who are aware of their rights, but above all, of their duties towards each other, towards the state. As President John F. Kennedy once put it, ask not what your nation can do for you, but what you can do for your nation. We will instill that civility into everybody, starting from nursery school to university, as is stipulated in the curriculum, our curriculum that has been developed, curriculum of education, developed by the able Department of Education. So we are ready for all that. We will never ever be a La République, a failed state, a corrupt and lying state. They lie to themselves for 60-something years what their Independence Day is. 1st of January 1960 is their day of independence. Over almost over a year before southern Cameroons got her independence. So those are dates that they seek to conceal, to hide since their inception, so that it is in their blood. So no doubt all of those problems are happening there. Thank you.
Um, Thank you very much, uh, Dr. Tom, for a rundown of history, which is also joining up to what Comrade Tangshi and Barrister Timothy have just been talking about. Okay, that was the last talk on the feed segment. Now we want to cross over to the patriotic segment, which is to read a section of our uh, ethics code to the public, which is what we had said. Ambazonia, we are switching gears to our Know Your Ethics Code segment. The government wants Ambazonians to be informed patriots when we have our nation. Ethics Commission decided to take the ethics code to the people by reading about a portion of each time we meet today. Each time we meet. So today we will be reading uh, Section 5, Article 1 of Section 5. And I will go ahead and quickly read it out here before we call it quit for today. Section 5, Paragraph 1 of our Ethics Code says personal association with those who are doing business with government, those who are to do business with the government. Conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest may arise from official dealing with or decision made in respect to individuals who share private interest with doing business with the government. For example, members of society, clubs, um, members of society, clubs, and let me make it easy for us here. All right. Yeah, members of society, clubs, other organizations, or even family relationships can create conflicts of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest when an actual, perceived, and or potential conflict of interest arises. Employees must advise the appropriate ethics or other designated officials and ensure their official duties to do not place them in a position when allegations of unfairness may be made. Recursal procedures, which should exist within elected members and or employees, must be followed to avoid or remove oneself from participation in any situation that could lead to an uh, actual or apparent conflict of interest. Elected members and employees should have readily applicable procedures in place that will allow for a recursal from official duties in those instances. If a decision is made not to totally remove the staff member from the situation, the procedures should also allow for the appropriate identification and management of the situation to an appropriate resolution. So that is the stance of the ethics on any person doing business or about to do business with government. There will be no conflict and it will be on meritocracy. All right. With that, we come to the end of the ethics for today, and we want to say thank all of you for coming in and sharing from your hearts that which we really, really needed, not only Ambazonians to benefit and hear, but the entire world that is listening to what Ambazonia is going to be in the nearest future as we get to our home. With that, I would like to say God bless, and until next program, remain blessed and remain focused. And remember, this is the year of stability and focus. All right. God bless.
Goodbye, everybody.
From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you prepared? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an Emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 4 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.